Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell. You know what time it is. It is 8 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning, my favorite time of the week. It is time for Sales Logic. Hanging out here with my partner, Mark Hunter. Mark, how does the show look this week?
Hey, the show looks great. We're going to be talking about how to leave your competition in the dust. Smoke them, bury them, leave them behind. That's the topic we got today. It's going to be a good show.
That is. All right, we got a lot to talk about. So I did a short intro today. Now, before Mark dives deep into the topic, I always like to tell you how the show works. Remember, the show is about one person, and that is you. So if you have a question, something you want us to feature here on Sales Logic, just reach out to saleslogicpodcast.com. And guess what? You'll find your question, your concern, your topic, the center of our show. All right, Mark, let's hit it.
Hey. Let's go. And you know what? I'm going to tease the audience right now about the lightning round because we're going to be talking about AI and human interaction. Ooh, that's worth sticking around for, right? But anyway, hey, how to leave your competition in the dust. You know, when I saw this topic, I got really thinking about there's so many ways to be busy, hustle. But you know, it's how your customers see you. And I'm going to throw this out right away. If your customers aren't asking you questions about things that you don't sell, things that you don't have anything to do with, you are not at the higher level. You are not at the next level with your customers. You want to leave your competition in the dust? It's because your customers see you as being everything to them. So question, do they really value you?
You know, we were talking about this last night at dinner. I was with a few clients, and not for this particular topic, but I was thinking about it in relationship to this topic. I think one of the number one things you need to do to leave your competition in the dust is reduce any friction between you and the customer. Last week, I reached out to a vendor of something that I want to buy, and it's a 5-figure investment. I'm ready to pull the trigger. And I was on my way to the airport when we were talking, and they got on the call and they said, "Oh, can you not be on video today?" I said, "No, I've got a really crazy couple of weeks." I said at that point, my husband was in the hospital, blah, blah. He goes, "Well, we'll just reschedule till when we can do this on video." And I was so like, why would you do that? You have somebody on the hook ready to buy, and you end the call because they want to interact with you in a way that is different. Like, why not at least get me on the call, have the conversation and say, "This all sounds really, really good. I'd still love to run you through the website. Could we set up a follow-up video call?" I just thought, what a way to open the door for your competition, right?
See, this is where that salesperson was trying to get you to fit into their process. It is not about us getting our customers to fit into our process. It's us fitting into our customers' process. You were ready. You were talking. You were ready to make some decisions. We have to be flexible and adaptable. You're right. If you want to leave your competition in the dust, that means you've got to be there for them. You've got to be ready for them. It really kind of points itself well to the question we got from a listener, Marina, Silicon Valley. She says, "I work in software sales, competitive, crazy competitive, so hard to get a meeting with a customer. I need to stand out from my competition, but I'm struggling to figure out how." And this is the whole thing. That company, they didn't exactly avail themselves to you. And you probably, have you had another call with them?
No, I didn't set up another call. And the reason was because I was so offended that I was ready to move and they were not ready. They wanted me to move at their pace. It sent a strong signal that the relationship is going to be more about them than it's going to be about me. So right. I didn't set, I just told him to reach out to me, which he's done a number of times, and I just haven't reset it.
Right. Absolute friction. And Bryn Tillman jumps in. I think the best way to serve the customer is to detach from what they are worth to you and attach to what you are worth to them. That's what that salesperson was not doing. And we have to be at that level, which means we have to understand, going back to Marina's question, you really have to stop and ask yourself, Marina, why would they want to have a meeting with a vendor? See, if they see you as a vendor, you're not worth anything to them. You really got to understand their business and really go downstream and upstream by creating enough relationships. I always look at this. I want to be able to sit across from a customer, have a conversation with a customer where I can share with them insights that they didn't even realize, insights about their marketplace, insights about their customers that they, that's how we begin to leave the competition in the dust.
Yeah, Natalie, you're so right. Customers are buying at different times in different ways, and making it easy is more important than ever. I mean, I don't think you can ask yourself enough, have I done everything to remove the friction from the buying process? Because there's always more ways. So I think that's huge. The second thing I'm thinking about is how do you leave your competition in the dust is to throw the KPIs at the beginning of the sales conversation, that the products and services that I'm selling, the way I'm going to solve your problem is these are the deliverables you're going to get. This is what is going to be different. I just had this situation happening. I was competing with actually internal resources for learning and development, and my learning and development was far more expensive than the internal learning and development. But I went in with a mini training, and then I went in with deliverables of KPI. So I got the testimonials from the people who had been through the training. They were able to experience the difference. And then I delivered to executive leadership what would be different.
So what were you doing? You were making it simple. You were making it easy for them to see it in their world on their terms. And again, this is the whole thing. So many times what happens is, going back to this salesperson who didn't want to have the call with you because you're in your car. Salespeople, we can overcomplicate things. We overcomplicate things. And you have to understand the customer on their terms. I go back to a very nice project I recently closed. And it came about because of really just 2 really good phone calls. But these were really good phone calls that encompassed a host of things. When I say phone calls, they weren't even Zoom or team calls. These were literally phone calls. But we were able to go to such a level with 2 of the people in the company and myself. And it's amazing at the level. And what did that do? It allowed them to feel absolutely comfortable with me. Leaving the competition in the dust is not about hundreds of customers. It's about a few customers that you do absolutely an unbelievable work with.
Yeah, and then they'll turn around and sell you to everybody else, right?
That is so true. Again, it is. The easiest way to build your business is by having your current customers telling others about the great business that you're doing. And again, so many salespeople fail to jump on that. Yeah, why? I don't know why. That one blows my mind away.
Well, I would say the other thing is that you got to read where the buyer is in the buying process. I've been sold too fast, and in this instance, I was sold too slow. I had already done my homework. I was referred to this vendor by a very, very, very credible friend of ours. When I went onto the website, I saw other people that I knew had used this vendor. I was sold. I was ready to go. I would have signed the deal by the end of that phone call. And not a date, like sales isn't a static process. It isn't you do all these 10 steps. Sometimes you have to do 18 and 25 steps to get the customer there. Sometimes it's 1, 2, 3 and the customer's done. So if you want to leave the competition in the dust, you got to pay very close attention to where the customer is in the buying process before you start the sales process.
That's so key to really understand where the customer is coming from, because that was the situation I had with these 2 partners in this company. They had already done a tremendous amount of homework. They had already pretty much pre-vetted me. They were pretty much decided. So really all it took was 2 really good phone calls, and we were able to close the deal. But again, this is what so many salespeople go. They want to go right through this exact process. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're never going to leave your competition in the dust because you're moving too slow. Now, this isn't about jumping past things. You brought up a good point. You got to lay out those KPIs in the beginning. How's the customer going to benefit? What is it that they're going to get from this? You got to lay that out first, very early on in the sales call. And I think that's, again, what salespeople fail to do. They fail to put enough emphasis on that initial conversation, that initial sales call.
Yeah. All right. We're getting some really good comments in here.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Bryn is jumping in, knowing what you do better than the competition, and not only aligning it to solving their challenge, but articulating the ROI, that thing you do best. Let's jump on this ROI for a bit, because I think without a doubt, ROI has always been at the foundation of any business decision being made, and even a B2C decision being made. ROI, what am I really going to get for this? But I think in today's economy, in today's environment, that's even more important. And if we can't spell that out early, and we can't get the customer to kind of understand what that is, we have to ask ourselves, why are we spending time with them?
Yeah, I love what Dave is saying here, obviously, because he says I'm correct. Buyers have already done their homework. And if you are a part of their game, you are either a viable partner or there to keep the viable partner honest. Lead with their KPIs. You better know their KPIs before you go into that, before you go into that sales call. But another thing that I would say, if you want to leave your competition in the dust, you better be able to clearly and simply articulate why going with you is a better decision than going with a competitor. If you don't know the answer to that, and you're not walking into the sales call convinced in your bones that buying your product is going to make their life better, then you're not set up to leave the competition in the dust. They say in sales that the very first sale you got to make is to yourself. And so, and look, this will ebb and flow. I've had keynotes that I've rolled out there, or consulting projects, or things I've done where I'm not sure why I'm better than anybody else. I know it's good, but could I definitively tell you that I'm the one you need to go with? And sometimes the answer has been no. And that tells me I need to go back and do a little bit more exploration and be able to clearly articulate it.
That's a great point. I'm dealing with this right now. Had a conversation this week with the CEO of a company and the chairman of the board, and they're asking me on this stuff. And I'm like, I kind of came away from the call. I'm not sure if I'm the right fit. I'm not quite sure. We agreed to have another call, and I'm having to go in and do a lot of research over the next couple of days to really understand, can I bring them that distinctive difference that's going to help them? And going back to Marina, this is the challenge you're facing in Silicon Valley in terms of getting appointments. Are you standing out enough? Are you really being unique enough? And many times that starts with the testimonials. And this is what the brain came back, the sales logic brain came back and said, you got to be building relationships and coming in with testimonials and case studies. And again, testimonials and case studies is one of the easiest ways for you as a salesperson to build more confidence yourself. Wow, this is what people are saying about that. This is what this case study. That helps you, because your point was so spot on. The first sale we make is to ourselves. And if we wouldn't buy from ourselves, why would our customer ever buy from us?
Yeah. But I think it's okay at times to not be sure, that, not have that confidence. That's part of your homework to go back and explore. Let me give you a great example. Back in 2016, I think I released it in 2018. I really, my brand became Thrive, turning uncertainty to competitive advantage. And I kind of held my ground there for a while. Now, everybody and their brother, every time I see people in my market who do what I do, I see the words Thrive, uncertainty, and competitive advantage. I see my brand in everybody. So this week I've been exploring positioning companies, because I need to go in, do some work. My brand has been heavily commoditized, and I got to do something with it. So that's my focus right now, is to rebrand myself, reposition myself in the marketplace. So I've been interviewing companies who do this for a living and just couldn't find the right fit. And I found this company that doesn't work with people in my industry, but I really liked what they were doing. So I called them, and he was awesome. He got on the phone with me. He goes, I don't know if we can help you either. He was flat honest up front. He goes, but let's just talk about it. And rather than trying to figure out my problem, he said, I know you've done your homework on us. I've done homework on you, but I want you to tell me exactly what your problem is. And I'm going to tell you what we offer, and let's decide together if I can help you. It was an hour-long conversation, and probably one of the best sales conversations I've ever had, because I believe authentically he was really trying to figure out if he could help me. And I was very honest in completely blurting my problem. And we were doing the groundwork to try to figure out if they were right. Now they are. So we pulled the trigger and moved forward. But it was one of the best sales conversations because, kind of to Bryn Tillman's point, they were really trying to, the focus was not on them. It felt at least like they were trying to help me.
Now stop and think about that. That was more than a sales call. Mm-hmm. That was a business call. That was a life call, because you were having a conversation that was going to so many different levels. And again, when we talk about leaving the competition in the dust, our customers have to see us in a different light. That gentleman, that person you were talking to was absolutely, without a doubt, doing just that. And as a result, your conversation went to a completely different level. And this is the challenge I think we have to ask, and we have to ask ourselves in sales. Is sales about just closing the sale, or is it truly about helping and shaping that customer and allowing them to get to the next level? I love Roberta's comment. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself, Roberta, but I have to tell you, it's painful.
Yeah. Well, why is it painful?
Because you've worked so hard to establish your brand. Yeah. And then you've worked so hard to establish your brand, and then and none of the words or anything are mine, but think about all the stuff that you've done with your website. Think about all the stuff that you've done with your market position. And then you turn around and you just see your brand everywhere, and you just watch yourself become commoditized. So I only say that it's painful, that it's kind of like shot in the arm saying, Meridith, you need to pick it up.
Well, but it also says that what you're doing is good. What you're doing is absolutely, and you're helping to change the marketplace. Now, it's up to you now to say, where do I go to the next level? How do I make that next leap? You're right, because just as you did this back, and I remember when you made that move back in 2018, the economy was good, right? I mean, the economy, and you were kind of like, but you were going to stick to your guns. You wrote that book, and you had all those case studies in there, but you stuck to your guns. And that's the whole thing, because again, if you want to leave competition in the dust, you got to believe in what it is that you do.
Yes, you
absolutely believed, and you rode that. And that's, again, a huge attribute to what you bring to your customers that you work with.
Yeah, I love what Bryn is saying here. Quick SWOT prompt. I would like to compare a competitor company, add a URL to my company URL, and give me a full SWOT and share why my company is the better choice. I love that. So just saying head on, I want to show you, and make sure too, you got to realize with customers, if I am going to buy anything, whether it's an Apple, whether it's a piece of IT, whether it's consulting, it all looks vanilla to me. You have to help me understand why choosing you is the right choice.
That is so true, because that's how you actually stand out and stand apart. Renee, that was also a consulting call. That's exactly what Meridith was having, that company. But you know what? Think about that. That's what every sales call we have. If we are not bringing insights to our customers that they can't get elsewhere, that they don't know, that we're just a vendor. We are just a vendor. Standing out from everybody else and leaving the competition in the dust is really being able to help your customers at a different level. This goes back to this whole thing that I want to have customers who are asking me, engaging with me, questions that I really shouldn't know the information on, but they trust me so much. They have so much confidence in me that they're asking me for my opinion. That's absolutely spot on. That's how we get difference. Hey, LinkedIn user writes, I wonder what he did to get you to feel comfortable having that level of conversation.
Yeah, I love this question. I'm so glad that you asked it. There's a couple of things. Number one, when I found them, the very first, before I ever had to have a conversation, they had a free masterclass that goes on a loop that I could understand their process, what they do, and intimately how they go about what they do. So I was comfortable having that level of conversation because I had already positioned them in my mind as an expert and a resource. And so it's such a good question. I'm so glad you asked it, is that because I think another piece of leaving your competition in the dust is you have to have market positioning. I mean, it is so much easier for me on a call to convince people to go with me rather than my competition when they've already heard all my arguments as to why I'm the expert in the field.
Hey, I love Roberta's comment. Emotions are contagious. If you're feeling excited and certain that will be picked up by the prospect, yeah, it does. And that can, hey, on one hand, that can work for you, but on more times than not, it's going to work against you because you also become clouded in your judgment and your decision-making process. We see this especially in negotiations. Hey, time is like ripping past. We got to get to the book. The book, Seth Godin, Purple Cow. We've all got a copy of that book, right?
Oh yeah, no better market differentiator than Purple Cow. If you hadn't read it in a while, I hadn't read it in a while, and when we picked it out for the book this week, I went and picked it back up on Audible and rereading it. But if you really want to stand out, nothing better than being a Purple Cow, and Seth Godin in that book really lays out the plan.
And the story he shares in that, you're driving down, you're driving through some farmland, you see some cows, they all look the same, but that purple one stands out. We have to stand out apart. Okay, you ready for the lightning round?
I am.
Lightning round, top 10 ways AI can make you more human.
Well, it gives you more time to be human, right? Because all those repetitive tasks that we've got, AI gives us the time to spend more time doing what we do well, and that is engaging the customer.
That is so true because it's about personalization. Because if I can get AI to do all that stuff, I can personalize. Personalization is more important than ever in today's AI-driven world.
All right, number 3, I would say that it can give you more education and more insight. So that you can have higher quality conversations.
And with that, it allows us to go downstream and upstream. I talk about this a lot, but it's really understanding what the customer's role is in the marketplace. Because if I can understand their world at as deep a level as they do, it's going to put me at an advantage and I'm going to have a better conversation.
Yeah, number 5, it tells you it can really signal you in on what the top pain points are in the industry, or even in particular with the customer, so that you can come across more engaging and more connected.
And I can take that even further by saying, what's some predictive analytics? What's the industry going to look like? What are they going to look like a year or two from now? You can begin to model those things so you can really help them understand and help you feel more comfortable. Where are they going to be a couple years from now?
Yeah, I'd say number 7, it helps you, it really helps you be able to, like, if you're going to put together an email and you want to give it some personalization, running it through ChatGPT and saying, can you help me if I'm going to write an email to company XYZ? What are some things that I could put in there that could help me really connect to company XYZ?
And I'm going to add to that, use chat or whatever to help you write it, but don't send it exactly the way they sent it. It's a great starting tool, but you are the finishing expert. Put your own personalization onto it.
Yeah, and I would say that number 9, it really keeps you ahead of the curve. You can put things into ChatGPT to understand where the industry's going, where it's headed, and what you need to do to position yourself as an expert.
And you can use AI to help create images, create things that allow you to have your presentations, have your conversations just be that much more brought to life. AI is a great tool, but you got to use it to your advantage. So anyway, hey, with that, great show. We should talk about Sales Logic Expert Exchange because that's coming up in a couple of weeks, and it's just you and I are going to be talking, right? We're going to be.
That's right. We're going to be talking about the power of masterminds, the power of accountability, the power of connection, and the power of continuous learning.
And that comes up the 4th Monday of each month from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're part of the mastermind, Sales Logic Mastermind, then you get to kind of go behind the curtain and do Q&A. But hey, those are absolutely incredible events. Make sure you register for that. You can see that out on the website. Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. Something we've said has helped you earn a single dollar. Consider telling a friend about our show because it's how we grow when you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott, Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We will see you right back here next week, 8 a.m. Eastern, for another episode of Sales Logic. Go to saleslogicpodcast.com, leave us a review, and sign up for the Sales Logic Expert Exchange, 4th Monday of the month, 4 p.m. Eastern. You will not be sorry you attended. All right. We'll see you right back here next week.